I'm Greg Finn.
And I'm Jess Budd.
And it is officially Marketing O'Clock here on December 28th, 2018. Remember, you can catch us live without a net Fridays on YouTube in the morning, or you can consume us via your favorite podcasting player.
And don't forget to follow along with us in our show notes. You can just head over to marketingoclock.com for all the links from today's articles.
All right. First up this week, we were surprised. I wouldn't say pleased. I'd just say surprised when we had hopped into our Bing Ads accounts and got a little notification from Bing Ads. And that notification says, the exact match close variance update. In line with the industry, we're expanding our close variance starting in the U.S. to include implied words, synonyms, same search intent, and paraphrases. And so let's take it back a little bit. This is all from search marketing ads. So if you are buying ads on search engines, you've traditionally, and I say traditionally loosely, because let's say pre-2014 and post-2014. So previously you could buy an exact term and say, I'm only going to buy this specific mug term, and you would only show for that. And then in 2014, Google had released the fact that people may be looking for a plural version of your product or misspellings. So they add that in. So it wasn't really exact at that time. Then in 2017, Google said, well, let's change that word order around and maybe some function words as well. So that you could say, well, I've got the word chocolate milk, and this is what everybody says. I'm just repeating it. And they could switch those words of chocolate and milk to say milk chocolate. And everybody's up in arms. Milk chocolate's not the same as chocolate milk.
It's not.
No, duh. And so that happened in 2017. And so here in September of 2018, this third phase has rolled out by Google. And this was the fact that there could be same search intent, paraphrasing, or even implied words. So it took this exact, matching and really kind of twisted it around into all different types of advertising. And so from us search marketers, we have to be really diligent on looking at negative terms and making sure that things make sense. I was just looking at one of the accounts that we have together, Jess. And a good example of this matching is that we have an exact match for a magician in New York City. Magician New York City, let's say. And it had matched to say, this is, again, an exact match, saying Magic Show, NYC.
No.
And it's not a show. It's one is hiring. So it has many benefits by catching misspellings and some other terms that we might not have in there. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely not exact match. So this is rolled out to Bing. And what Bing says about this is exact match triggers your ad and exact words your ads. Keywords appear in the customer search's journey. It can also match search queries that are minor variations of the words that are considered close variations. These can include singular, plural, abbreviations, misspellings, punctuations, accents, stemming and from reordered words. So look for the new dubbed Exactish by Ginny Marvin over at Search Engine Land to be in your Bing Ads account today. Yay.
Yay. I've just been sitting here, for those of you listening and not watching, just shaking my head this whole time. I want to go back quickly to the very first thing that you said, that Bing said. In line with the industry, we're expanding exact match to close variance. When I read that, I believe my exact quote was more like in line with garbage. Why you don't have to do something just because everybody else is doing it. I think it's probably nice from a management standpoint to be able to know that on both platforms, Google and Bing, you need to look out for the same thing. But why are you doing this? Just because everyone else is? I don't like that.
I mean, I see why they're doing it, because the biggest search giant did it. But I think this was their time to take a stand and say, hey, we're changing exact match to being our custom match, whatever. And we have something new that nobody else has. Actual exact match. That would have been cool. That was their time to strike, is to be like, hey, everything will import now. We just call it custom match. It's a little different in the nomenclature between Google Ads and Bing Ads. And we got a whole new product. But no, it's just everything is exact, but nothing is exact. Sigh.
Lay sigh.
Okay. Jess, you look a little fired up over there.
I'm very fired up. Yesterday, I can't even. We were discussing this earlier. This isn't even news because it changed so quickly, but it's news for that reason. So yesterday was an absolute disaster on Instagram for like a minute. And this actually, the news came first via my husband. So shout out to Chris Budd. He got an update on his phone and he was complaining to me and begging to me, of course, because we are experts in this field. Like, what do I do to change this? And how do I fix it? I'm like, what are you even talking about? And I went on the internet and there was one article at that time that was 20 minutes fresh. And the headline read, Instagram completely changes how its feed works. Now, before we get into everything else that happened after this, did you get this update, Greg?
No. No, I didn't.
Did you even care?
No, I didn't care.
Because I didn't get it either, but people were upset. The whole internet caught on fire.
Can you talk about what the update was and why it was different?
Yes, I should do that because maybe not everybody knows. So you go on Instagram, right, and you're used to a feed that scrolls vertically, and you just go through and you can look at all the posts. This update changed that vertical scroll to a horizontal scroll, and it wasn't even a scroll. You had to tap. So it was kind of like, and they likened it to their stories feature, which was hugely successful, and that's why they were testing this and yada, yada, and you had to tap through all of the posts to get to the next one in your quote feed. The annoying thing about this in our experience here at the office was that you couldn't, not only did you have to tap to get to the next post, but if somebody had multiple images, you had to tap through all of them, even if you didn't want to see them, to get to the next thing. So we were a little upset about it. I'm looking at Hope over there because she was at the lunch table with me getting real fired up about this. She got the update. I didn't.
Well, just a note, too, that this was confirmed that this was just a test. And Instagram has actually had this test out for a decent amount of time to select people. This was a complete error. It wasn't like an actual meaningful change that they had intended to have happen. So that the test went too far and they recalled it back, I think, within like under an hour, right?
Yes. And by too far, their exact statement, and I quote, the test went out to a few orders of magnitude more people than intended. I mean, almost the entire internet got this, and people were mad. They were tweeting. Let's see, what the heck, Instagram, have you been drinking? Was a tweet I saw.
Can I say a fun fact about orders of magnitude?
Yes.
I didn't know specifically what orders of magnitude were. I kind of loosely know. Do you know the actual definition of orders of magnitude?
Actual definition? No.
What's one order of magnitude more than 10?
So many more than 10.
What's 2 orders of magnitude over 10?
I'm going to go with 50,000.
No, you just move the decimal over 2. So that's it. That's 2 orders of magnitude. That'd be 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I was
an order
close.
of magnitude.
50,000.
Yeah, 1, so multiple orders of magnitude.
That's a lot. That's thousands of more people.
Fun fact. Maybe you can learn something on this show.
So people were upset, and then Instagram, retracted really, really quickly. They took it back, I guess, if you will, after the internet, quote, exploded, is what a lot of the other headlines said. But yeah, again, this was a tweet from the head of Instagram that I just want to read because it's really, really fun. That was supposed to be a very small test that went broad by accident. Should be fixed now. If you're still seeing it, simply restart the app. Happy holidays.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think the tapping thing makes any kind of sense. Obviously, that seems like just bad UI. Yeah. So good thing that went back. I mean, being able to scroll down at just your own leisure until you feel sick and disgusted with yourself and then closing the app seems a lot better. I mean, tapping, you really have to be like, yeah, I really like that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I was fully prepared to like hypothesize what this was going to mean for ads and everything, but they already took it away. I guess I would say that successful test. Nobody likes it. They're not going to do it, I hope.
Yeah, and again, for ads, I think that's something that's interesting. I mean, you have to tap on the stories now, and then you get ads, and you don't know they're coming necessarily. So that could be something, if there is some sort of tappable item down the road, I guess, to have ads. My favorite tweet about this was from somebody called @TriviaStigma, and it was us, please, chronological timelines. Insta, what? Insta stories? Us. No. Chronological timelines. Insta. Did you mean IGTV? Us. No. Chronological timelines. Insta. Oh, you want to scroll horizontally. I just thought that was funny.
It was a beautiful dramatic reading.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate
There's
that.
also a beautiful tweet at Trivia Stigma.
Okay, and just we have the pleasure. I mean, you and I were millennials. I'm an elder millennial. You're a normie millennial.
Thank you.
And we also have an iGen/Gen Z Hope on our team here who runs a soundboard. So we've got a new segment here because I hear that Gen Z loves tapping through stories. So we're going to a new segment here called Give Us Hope. Hope, what did you think about the tappable Instagram update?
It was probably the worst update in the history of updates.
You heard it here first, folks. The worst update in the history of updates. The kids don't like it.
No. And if you guys were a fly on the wall yesterday, girl was much more upset. She's happy now because it's reverted, but she was on fire yesterday.
All right.
Is that it? Are we done talking about Instagram? You want to talk about something else that's super annoying?
Let's talk about something else.
All right. Next up, the headline is Dirty Dealing in the $175 billion Amazon Marketplace. And this is an article that we encourage you guys to read. It's a really, really fun read, basically about the nasty, nasty world that is Amazon, which I didn't realize because everyone just thinks Amazon's so lovely. But there's a lot of crap slinging going
Crap
on.
slinger.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had to not
I like
swear.
that. Wasn't that your high school nickname?
Crap slinger?
Crap slinger. No?
It is now.
Okay.
People are going to start calling me that. Thank you.
It sounds like Brett Favre, like some like a gunslinger, you know,
Ooh,
just like but except somebody that throws interceptions. So I don't know if you know what those are.
Interception? It's like a football thing.
Yeah, it is. Correct.
Is it when you catch it?
It's like the other team.
Right. They intercepted it.
There you go.
Sports, guys.
So I think that might be in Buffalo. That'd be the Nathan Peterman, the crap slinger. Throws a lot of passes just all to the other team.
I don't know.
Okay, and that's Greg with sports.
Yeah.
So back to
Who was
Amazon.
the first person you said?
It
Brett
doesn't-
Favre?
it
I knew who
doesn't
that
matter.
was. I don't know who this Nathan Peters is.
Yeah, he sends Brett Favre's in headlines for inappropriate stuff. So.
Oh, crap slinging?
Wasn't slinging crap.
I'm going to look it up later. I'm going to bang it. Back to Amazon. Yeah, this article starts out with a quote that says, sellers are more worried about a case being opened on Amazon than an actual court, which is terrifying. And apparently if you're caught being bad on Amazon, the appeals process is like nearly impossible to navigate. You can't get in touch with a human. Some guy like flew from China and lived in a car and like hung out in front of the office just to get to interact with a human. And they ended up giving him the same phone number that he could have got on the internet for support, which also doesn't help you. So this is a really good article. You should read it. But the important takeaways, I guess, for marketers and people listening here is that, A, if this happens to you, if you have money and patience, there's an entire industry of people popping up that are kind of like lawyers, but they're Amazon terms of service people that can help you. Bigger thing, though, the crap slinging that I was referring to is like competitors or companies trying to take down their competitors by buying fake reviews for their people, their competitors.
Absolutely. It reminded me of at least in the digital marketing industry and search in general, that this is kind of like this negative SEO play.
Yes.
Where you're out there and you're like, hey, it's bad to buy links. You know what? I'm going to go buy links for my competitor. And this is something that I felt terrible reading the intro paragraph of this, where there's somebody selling scopes for rifles or something like that, and woke up and got all these good reviews. And like, oh, wait, these look fishy, and then boom, it's like your store is down, and it works. And it's like, hey, this is something to be careful for. And they're probably, after this article has happened, going to be some better stops that Amazon's going to have.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we talked about last week about the fake reviews too. Amazon takes this stuff super seriously, and there is like, again, the kind of friendly fire that's happening here to these people that are having these attacks on them, and it's sad. It's sad that that's who we are as human beings.
I would
Merry
not call it
Christmas.
friendly. Happy holidays from Instagram. Yeah, it's really, really sad. The other thing too, that Scopes guy that you just referenced, it also said in the article that he noticed that these reviews were fake, and he reported them to Amazon and said, please take these down. And they did. And then they still got him for a violation. And I there's examples in here that are hilarious. People are getting splinters, and so on picture frames they're being deemed unsafe. Products are being taken down. It's a nasty, nasty world. It's a great article, actually. It's really, really interesting, and there's some good stuff in there. So
All right, and that brings us to this week's lightning round.
choo choo.
First up, let's keep it with Amazon. Amazon says Alexa voice shopping tripled during the 2018 holiday season. And on Wednesday, obviously the number of uses of the personal assistant Alexa for shopping specifically were 3 times greater than there was last season. This, to me, I just love this. Whenever Apple or anybody comes out with like a new iPhone, like this iPhone, the best iPhone ever. And they always have like some stupid dramatic sentence like that.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, there was barely voice shopping last year. Of course it's more. But anyway, it's up three times, which to me seemed actually low. 3x that?
Yeah. I mean, but they didn't give any numbers, right? I mean, it could have been 1 person last year and 3
That's true.
this year.
That's true. I just assumed
Which would
last
be
year,
low, to your point.
I just assumed last year that there was like 10 people. So in my head is just 30 and not even an order of magnitude.
I was going to say that. You stole my joke. Just real quick, my favorite toy that they talked about in this article is the LOL Surprise Glam Glitter Series doll with 7 surprises. That was the best-selling product with voice search this year, and that was the whole name of the product.
See, I think that's a kid just being like, hey, Alexa, I want the Glam Glitter Series down. That's what my kids do. They throw chocolate chips on the shopping list. They're like, hey, Google, put chocolate chips on the shopping list. I'm like, no, Google, don't. I'm like, take that off. And then Google can't take things off the shopping list.
What?
So I'm like, I got to go there. And then they started putting all these weird words. They're like, hey, Google, put blah, 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 blah. And then I can't take it off. I have to go to the web app. So I think that they're just kids ordering these Glam Glitter Series 7 dolls. Or doll with 7 surprises or whatever.
Maybe, and that's why it's LOL Surprise, Mom and Dad. I bought myself a Christmas gift. Amazing. All right. This one comes to us from mobilepaymentstoday.com, which is my favorite new URL. But good stats. Adobe Analytics says that mobile holiday shopping hit a record sales of $33.3 billion by December 19th, so not even the whole holiday season. They also said that online sales with in-store pickup rose 47% since last year. So I guess mobile's here to stay. Get your mobile experience right if it's not.
I'm just going to call out mobile payments today here because the numbers seem very, very wrong. Shopping on mobile devices surges 50% was on smartphones, but I don't know, 8.3% on tablets, and then it represented 58.3% of overall site visits. Do you not know what a site visit is in mobile payments today? Because that doesn't make any sense. So, hey, mobile payments today, you're out of here. I want to see some stats here. Okay.
These are the stats. They're blowing my mind. I don't know.
How are we? Okay. You're going to have to look for yourself. Click through your show notes and let me know if I'm just crazy.
I don't think you are.
All right. And next up, let's just keep going with some of the fake stuff here. And it is from New York Magazine. The article is called How Much of the Internet is Fake? And the answer is apparently everything. That's what we've been learning here. But there was this really affects the ad industry as well. And I'm just going to read a quick paragraph from here. I know this is a lightning round, but it's a slow week. And so they said, digital advertisers tend to want 2 things: people to look at their ads and premium websites, i.e. established and legitimate publications on which to host them. The 2 schemes at the issue in the case, dubbed Methbot and Thrive by security researchers who found them faked both. Hucksters infected 1.7 million computers with malware that remotely directed traffic to spoofed websites that were designed for bot traffic that served up a video ad from one of the programmatic ad exchanges. So basically people thought they're getting like really prime time ads and video units on big time sites. They're paying a premium for it. And then Methbot and Thrive, these malware things, basically got all these fake views and empty impressions, let's call them. And to me, this is one of the major flaws of just CPM bidding in general. If you don't know what CPM bidding is, it's cost per milli or cost per 1,000, and you're only buying per impression. And so when we talked about, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, how Google's coming out with their pay for conversion model, that's why we're so excited, is because who cares how many impressions you have many times, right? Like, if you have branding campaigns and all that. But if you're looking for some performance, you can't really fake revenue, sales, and I mean, you can fake some conversions. But I just thought that this was really interesting, really pertinent to advertisers in general. And then they went on to just talk about the fact that only 60% of the traffic on the internet is human, real traffic. And then for a brief period of time in 2013, that a full half of YouTube traffic was bots masquerading as people.
That's my favorite phrase in the history of the planet.
So, again, it's something to say, don't just look at your top level numbers, see what's working, make sure any of your ads, anything that's going on is actually moving a needle that matters. Like that's what the moral of the story and the takeaway that I had was from it is that do what works.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
And shout out to New York Magazine for excellent writing. Great word choice. Hucksters. Are we?
We're doing it.
Doing it?
It's time for this week's WTH. And
Smackdown.
and this week it is actually all kind of revolving around a LinkedIn post, and it was called out in the Wall Street Journal. But basically, the CEO of a CPG media brands company called Innovative, Matt Baxter, had talked about Facebook and had some pretty strong words for Facebook and for his clients, surprisingly. And he said, it's about time we take a collective stand against the egregious behavior of Facebook. Every time these sorts of stories surface, they assure us that they are trying harder. Enough is enough. I will be advising clients to stay off the platform entirely. Hopefully, when they feel the pain of lost advertising dollars, things might just change. All right, Matt, get off your soapbox and high horse there. Like, to me, I was very surprised that somebody would be saying that. And not only just from an ad standpoint, but from the fact that you have to stay off entirely. Like, hey, you can't even be on Instagram. Like, it was very surprising. There was a lot of pushback or backtracking that we'll get to in a minute. But I was just, that was a WTH moment for me to say, just stay off the platform entirely.
Yeah. And WTH also because they listed some of his clients in this article, and they are big brands. And if I was their competitor and I knew they were being advised not to be on Facebook, I'd be all over that.
Yeah.
I'd be so on that platform that Facebook would feel the lift from all my money.
Yeah, and I'll find a secondary story about this, but one of the clients had commented on the LinkedIn post. The client, it was public, so I'll say it, is Lego. It was one of the clients. And they're running lots of Facebook ads, and they had agreed with them. And it's like, well, what is going on here? Like, I understand. It seems like that's just really cringy because you can have your own personal feelings, but you shouldn't let that get in the way of your client's success, you know? And I feel like this is this grandstanding that is just a cringe fest. So,
and I predict if Lego's going off Facebook, 2019 is the year of Duplo.
Do you know that Duplo owns Legos?
No.
Yeah, it's just for bigger or littler kids.
Fine, Mega Blocks then.
Mega Blocks.
Moving in 2019.
All right, hang on. I'm just going to go to buy some Mega Block shares here. Oh, wow, they're cheap.
Ouch. Are they even still a thing? I don't know.
I don't know.
This article, too, I really liked. There was an analyst in there. I didn't write her name down, so I'm sorry, but it's in the show notes. She called Facebook catnip for advertisers, which I really liked. A, because I like cats, but also it's true. Like, how do you not, even though they're doing all these nasty things, how do we not, there's so many options for us as advertisers on this platform.
Yeah, and I got confused by that because I don't have cats. I used to live with cats, and I don't really know what they were doing with that catnip. Like, they'd kind of eat it and like spaz out a little bit. I never really got catnip. What is it? Can you explain catnip to me?
It's some sort of herb, and there's like a human version of it too that I always get wrong, so I'm not even going to try, but it's like something you put in tea.
Human nip.
Yes, official term. I don't know. It's so I'll find it. But yeah, I think it gets them like really excited and almost high. I feel like some cats it's hallucinogenic for, but I believe that I read that it doesn't affect all cats that way, but it gets them hyped up.
So do your cats like catnip?
My cats love catnip. They love Facebook advertising.
Okay. There you go. Keep them away.
Little marketer cats.
Okay. Anything else for the WTH here?
I don't know. No. Oh, yes. Yes, I have something else. So clearly this poor guy does not listen to our podcast because he called out Facebook for their allowing message access to third-party advertisers. But if he listened to Marketing O'Clock, we talked about this, I think it was last week, that, people opted into that. So that's something that they agreed to allow happen. So
right.
This guy should read.
All that egregious behavior that had, or just for Facebook and the news in general, that what he was commenting on, it was originally as like a repurposed version of that New York Times article you're talking about. That was actually not the issue. The bigger issue is like the data being used incorrectly by Cambridge Analytica. So
Right.
That was all opt-in stuff, dude. That's not even catnip.
Get right.
All right. And that brings us to this week's cool tool. And this week's cool tool.
I don't have a sound for that.
Yeah, whoosh. Oh, I like that. Sounds like a fan. So this week, there was a blog post on Cloudflare, and this is from, let me grab his name. I don't have it here, but we'll have it in the show notes so you can take a look. But it's chipping away at the issue of a slow TTFB. And TTFB is the time to first byte. And what it means is when the server has first gotten that information, and basically the thought is, hey, if you have a slow time to first byte, everything else is going to be slow because that's the nature of the game. That's the first thing that's loaded.
Makes sense.
And so Cloudflare had come up with a new WordPress plugin that can help basically edge caching to speed the process up for that time to first byte, which will hopefully make everything speedier. And it's on GitHub, the plugin, and you can see it in this article here. But basically, the message in the article said, if the first byte is slow, every other metric will also be slow. Improving it is one of the few cases where you can predict what the impact will be on every other measurement. Every millisecond improvement on the time to first byte translates directly into a millisecond of savings in every other measurement. So I saw a few people that had gotten access to this and installed it and saw a drop, I think a pretty significant drop in that time to first byte. And they also have a web page test.org, I believe it is, where we can check it out and see your time to first byte. But check it out. There is a cost associated with Cloudflare, I believe, in this plugin. I think for $5 you can get up to 10 million requests. That's something
cheap.
to take a look at if you've got some speed issues.
And the guy's name, just so no one has to look it up, Patrick Meenan.
Thanks, Patrick.
Got it for you.
Okay, and that brings us to this week's must-read marketing article of the week. An article so in-depth, so detailed that we simply cannot cover it in full here on the show. And this week's episode comes from Si Kwan Ong, and it is called Marketing Funnels for Beginners, a Comprehensive Guide. And this is found on the Ahrefs site. And what I really liked about this article was that it was very detailed, but it also showed some tangible tips that were used specifically within the company itself. So you could see, hey, this is how it's being done. Many times when we talk about marketing funnels with clients, we have to explain it. We kind of start right over their heads. Mm-hmm. So if you are trying to explain like, hey, this is why content matters. This is why we need to have more elements to bring people in and then bring them out at the end of the day. I think it's just a great look at funnels in general. And then the juxtaposition of this article with the actual data and how they've been using it is just so helpful because it kind of comes full circle around that. So it's a great article. Thank you, C. And we appreciate that. And you can find it in our show notes today. And that does it for today's show. It is now officially not Marketing O'Clock.
Remember, you can catch all the content from today's show on marketingoclock.com or in the descriptions below.
And please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And we will see you next week.
Bye.